It all began with a gut feeling. That quiet whisper in the back of your mind that something is wrong, even when everything looks perfect on the surface. For 6 years, my life with Selena was a masterpiece of suburban tranquility. A nice house, a decent job, a marriage that felt like a blessing. But beneath that polished veneer, a different story was being written, one I was too blind to see. The small cracks started to appear subtly. Selena's girls' nights with her friends, Priya, Michelle, and Zoe, became more and more frequent. What began as a bi-monthly outing soon became a weekly, then bi-weekly ritual. I didn't think much of it at first. She'd been friends with them since college, and a little social time seemed harmless. Yet, her answers about her evenings became increasingly vague. Just caught up on gossip, or we tried that new sushi place, it was okay. The details, the vibrant stories she used to share, were gone, replaced by a wall of non-specific pleasantries. Then the red flags started waving. She'd shower the second she got home, even after being out for just a few hours. Her phone was suddenly a sacred object, always face down on the counter or nightstand. She'd take calls in the other room, whispering about boring corporate law. But I knew her schedule. I knew her firm's partners didn't call paralegals at 9 p.m. on a Saturday. My instincts screamed at me, but I rationalized it all away. I was being paranoid. She was just busy. Everything was fine. The night my world imploded was supposed to be a regular guy's night out with my friend Marcus. He had tickets to a baseball game, and I was looking forward to a night of good company, good weather, and a cold beer. Selena was having another girls' night, so the timing was perfect. As she was getting ready, I noticed she was wearing a sleek black dress I'd never seen before, too sophisticated for a casual night of wine and appetizers. "Have fun with the girls," I told her. "You too, babe," she replied, kissing my cheek with a smile that now, in retrospect, felt like a farewell. The game was in the bottom of the 7th, and the home team was down by 2. The crowd was electric, and Marcus and I were laughing, completely absorbed in the moment, when the kiss cam began. The camera panned across the stadium, a light-hearted segment designed to capture sweet moments between couples. But this time, it landed on a couple in the premium seats across the field. The woman had long, dark hair and was wearing a black dress. The man was older, well-dressed, with a possessive arm around her. My stomach clenched. I knew them, both of them. The woman was my wife, Selena. The man was my boss, Richard Chen, the VP who had hired me, mentored me, and even recommended me for a promotion. The man who, in our one-on-one meetings, would ask, "How's the wife doing? You're a lucky man." And there they were, on a giant screen for 60,000 people to see, locked in a passionate kiss. Her hand was on his chest, his fingers tangled in her hair. The crowd cheered, completely unaware they were witnessing the public unraveling of a life. Marcus's voice was a distant murmur as I watched the scene unfold. The camera moved on, but my eyes remained fixed on them. I watched Richard's hand rest on Selena's thigh as she leaned into him. They shared nachos, laughed at some private joke, completely at ease. This wasn't a one-time fling. It was an established, comfortable relationship. Marcus saw the shock on my face. "Dude, you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." The words wouldn't come. I just shook my head and muttered an excuse about the beer. The rest of the game was a blur of agony. Every time I looked up, my eyes were drawn to their section, a constant, cruel reminder of the truth. They left together in the 9th inning, walking out like any other couple on a date. I got home around 11 p.m. Selena's car was in the driveway, and the bedroom light was on. She was in her pajamas, her hair wet from a recent shower, scrolling through her phone. "Hey, babe, how was the game?" she asked without looking up. "Good. We lost in extra innings," I lied. I had no idea how the game had ended. "That's too bad. Girls' night was fun, though. Michelle got engaged." Another lie, delivered with the same effortless casualness she used to tell me about her day. I brushed my teeth and got into bed. A stranger beside me. She kissed my forehead goodnight and rolled over, probably thinking she had gotten away with it again. But I lay there in the dark, replaying every detail, every lie, and every moment I had blindly ignored. The next few days were a waking nightmare. I went to work and sat in meetings with Richard, pretending to be a loyal subordinate while he talked about quarterly projections. I came home and sat across the dinner table from Selena, listening to her talk about her day, watching her lie to my face with the same smile I'd fallen in love with. The small inconsistencies I'd dismissed before now screamed with clarity. The new lingerie, the unexplained credit card charges, her late nights at work, all of it made sense. 3 weeks after the game, I hired a private investigator. I needed proof, something concrete to ground me in the reality of the betrayal. The photos came back 2 days later, Selena and Richard having lunch across town, checking into a hotel, and even grocery shopping together like a domestic couple. The timestamps revealed they had been together for at least 8 months. 8 months of lies, of me being a pawn in their game, of my wife and my boss carrying on their affair right under my nose. But the worst part wasn't the betrayal itself. It was the humiliation. The thought of how stupid they must have thought I was. The inside jokes they must have shared. The times Richard had asked about my weekend plans, knowing he was spending them with my wife. On a Thursday evening, I finally confronted her. She was in the bathroom, applying makeup for another girls' night. I stood in the doorway and asked, "How long have you been sleeping with Richard?" The mascara wand dropped into the sink. For a moment, we just stared at each other in the mirror as she weighed her options. She chose to tell me the truth, but not the kind I was prepared for. "I love him," she said, her voice flat and emotionless. "I've loved him for months. I was trying to figure out how to tell you. No apology, no remorse, just a simple statement of fact." "You were trying to figure out how to tell me by kissing him on the jumbotron at a baseball game?" Her face went white. She hadn't known I was there that night. "I saw everything, Selena. I saw the way you touched him, the way you looked at each other. I saw my wife and my boss acting like teenagers in love while I was sitting in the stands like an idiot." What followed was the 20-minute conversation that ended a 6-year marriage. She packed a bag that night and moved in with Richard. Divorce papers were filed within a month. I found a new job before the story could spread. Richard's own marriage ended in scandal, and he was asked to resign to protect the company's reputation. 8 months have passed since that night. I've moved, started therapy, and am slowly learning how to rebuild a life for one. Some days are still difficult. I still wake up expecting to see her next to me, convinced it was all a bad dream. But I've also found a strange sense of clarity and gratitude. Sometimes, the worst thing that happens to you is also the thing that saves you from wasting more years on a lie. I thought I was losing everything that night at the baseball game. Instead, I was finally seeing clearly for the first time in a long time. The truth is, I'm grateful for that kiss cam. Grateful for that moment of public humiliation that forced me to face who my wife really was. It was a brutal awakening, but it was a gift. Heartbreak doesn't end your story. It starts a new one, a more honest one. The truth will always find its way to the surface, and while it may be brutal, it is always better than living a lie.